All right, good afternoon, and we are live. It's Tuesday live. If you can see me, let me know that you can see me. My name is Wendy Ologe, and I'm the founder of the Intentional Parents Academy. Who is as excited as I am today? Please confirm that you can see and that you can hear me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And it's so good to be here again at the cathedral. You know that we call this place, the YouTube channel, our cathedral. Yes. And today is going to be an interesting day because we're touching on a topic that is very, will I say sensitive? Yes. Interesting. And also a concern to a lot of parents. So we're going to be sharing with you how to love and parent. How to love and parent a difficult child. Is it even possible? All right. So, who is a difficult child? This morning, when I got the message from a particular parent telling me that, you know what, I've registered for the academy and I'm registering because of this, my difficult child. Is it possible? The things that you're going to be able to teach will help my difficult child. All right. So one of the things that we say is that in parenting, many times we think that we're actually coming for the children who are having issues. But many of the times you find out that even the child who you think doesn't have any issue, really, that you actually might need to pay attention to. Again, welcome and welcome and welcome. Tell me where you're watching me live from. Tell me where you're streaming live from and why we have this conversation today. I'm streaming live from the capital city of Nigeria, FCT Abuja, right in my office. And yes, for those that are asking, I'm back from my fluffy life in Lagos. Yes, finally back here. And thank you for joining me. One of the things I would have learned when it comes to parenting children who we term difficult is that many of the times, it's not really that these children are difficult. It is also that they are battling with something. And I think that's where I'm going to take this class today from. So, you know, the children that you call strong-willed child or stubborn children, all right? So I gave some examples of difficult children earlier when I was doing a description of the class. And I was saying that difficult children, when we talk about difficult children, many of the times we're talking about the child who is always, crying at every slightest thing, the one that is always arguing with you, the one that you have a problem, they exhaust you. When you are done with this child, you are practically exhausted. You don't know what to do. You don't know what to say. You don't even know where to go. I've heard a lot of parents say to me, I got into the inner circle because of this difficult child. Now, we're going to be learning a bit about this. And believe you me, there is nothing I'm going to be sharing with you here that is going to take away the fact that you need to commit yourself to a long-term, learning. You must understand that. There is no two ways about that. We must continue to learn. So let me see the comment in the comment section. If you have a difficult child, let me see you put comment in the comment section saying, I have a difficult child. And you can help give a description of what you mean by a difficult child. Sometimes having a difficult child might even mean that you have a child that is having a health challenge. Having a difficult child might even mean that you have a child who just is going through puberty. Maybe something has changed in that child in that time. Invite your friends, your family, anybody that you know, because this class is going to be truly beneficial to every single one of us to actually be able to learn, all right, about parenting and what you must do. One of those days, yesterday I was in a session with a particular parent who told me, this, my son, is the reason why I have been looking for solutions. He's so difficult. I know these children, this set of children, in quotes, exasperate you. They make you tired. They want you, they even make you want to give up on parenting. Sometimes you're caught in between saying, I just hate this child. Because many of the times you are also comparing them with the other child, all right? With the other children or other child that you have, or maybe even a child of a friend or something of that nature. I want to assure you today that it can actually be an advantage raising a difficult child. So we have a course that runs in the academy that is called Parenting the Strong-Willed Child. And parenting the strong-willed child is one, is one very particular course that I created because I also had a strong-willed child, along my line of my parenting as well. Now, parenting a strong-willed child is an advantage. However, many times parents do not understand that it's an advantage. So we view it every time as a negative, all right? So whenever you do that, it overwhelms you. So you're constantly overwhelmed, constantly. All right, my child actually gets touchy easily, angry, believes he needs to get back to the person before he feels better. My always wants me to want his way. Yes, I have a strong-willed daughter. Somebody said first time streaming from Ondo. Yes, if you're first time streamer, we love you. Thank you for coming here. And I'm sure that will be one of the best. This will be one of the best 1 hour of your time that you spent in a while. All right. So let's get into the conversation of the day. One of the things that, like I said, I learned in the past is to know how to even raise this child. Every child is unique. And the first thing that you want to do is to understand that difficult child. What exactly is making that child difficult? That's the first question you want to learn. What exactly is making that child difficult? All right? Because the difficult child is always, going to have issues relating with so many things and so many parts of them. All right, sorry about that. Okay, so number one thing you want to do to understand this child is many of the times we don't even know who we are raising. So if I tell an inner circle parent now and I say, please describe your child for me, the parent is not going to say, my child is a boy, he's in primary 6. No. A parent in the inner circle will tell me their child's learning style, will tell me their child's temperament, will tell me the kind of child that child is, will tell me how that child is loved. That is what called learning their story is. Many of us, that's number one thing you need to do. You need to learn the story of your child. Who is your child? Who is your child? Many of us don't understand who our children really, really is. Who is your child? That's the first question you want to know. Learn their story. Okay? Learn their story. Number two thing you want to do, all right? And many of the times when I say learn their story, what I'm saying is that you need to find out, why are they also where they are. So while you are also, learning their story, you're learning who they are, why they are who they are, and all of the things that you need to learn as regards the story of your child. Very important. Very, very important. Number two, you need to begin to look beyond the behavior and do a self-assessment. You want to do a self-assessment of who that child is. You want to do a self-assessment of who that child is. Now, self-assessment is when you learn who they are, you're looking at who they are and then looking at how it affects what it is that they are doing. How it affects what it is that they are doing. Self-assess that child. Look beyond that behavior and begin to look at that person. Why is this person like that? Is this behavior, common? Is it unique to this kind of people? For instance, if you are able to look beyond the behavior and do a self-assessment, If, for instance, if you're raising a child who is sanguine, you would understand that for a sanguine child, being able to focus and put things in a lot of perspective doesn't come easy to that child. So that gives you an area of what you need to actually begin to work on. So when you do a self-assessment, you have a choleric child, you understand that cholerics who do not learn how to actually navigate their journey end up becoming bossy. So you want to find out why is this child being bossy? Why is this child arguing a lot? Is this coming from how they learn who they are and what their temperament is? So you need to look beyond that behavior and do a self-assessment. Because remember, I said that the first place to stay is to understand that child that you're raising. Number 3, you need to do a research. You need to do a research. How do you begin to do a research for your child? So I said, number 1, learn their story. Number 2, look beyond the behavior. Somebody help me write that and do a self-assessment. Number 3, do a research. Research on that child, those things that you know, research on it. I'm not talking about researching on blogs. Now, Google is like an appetizer. All right, Google gives you what it is, like, the surface of some of those researches. You want to actually get yourself to, for instance, if your child has turned to become a teen and then suddenly begins to become difficult, you want to begin to do courses like the brain, the puberty brain. What happens in the brain of a child? That's how to actually come from, So when you do that, I remember that. So in the inner circle currently, we're reading, what book are we reading? Walking Your Child Through Puberty in level 1. Let me bring it. Now, this is Walking Your Child Through Puberty. It comes with a workbook and then the main book. Now, until we started to read this book, there were some, questions that the parents in the inner circle had, and they didn't understand it, even when I answered it. Because there is a part of this book that talks about the puberty brain. Now, the puberty brain isn't developing the same way the other brain is, really. So there are a lot of influences on the puberty brain, and these influences come majorly because of the hormones. Now, if you do not understand how the brain works at puberty, one of the things that you're going to keep doing is you're going to keep clashing with your child. For instance, at puberty, the inducement of the hormones actually causes laziness in your teenagers. So your teenagers would become lazy if you do not understand how to help them. So they're going to sleep more. They're going to know not to want to do things and all of the things that come with being a teenager. Now, knowledge, doing this research puts you in a place of understanding. So when you understand, you begin to actually do things better. I like the way Maya Angelou says it. It says, when you know better, you will do better. So when you understand that this is what is happening to this child, you will begin to see that you are beginning to actually do things differently because this child is going through something. So you're going to come from the place of knowledge. All right? Is somebody writing this quote for us? When you know better, you will do better. So do a course, for instance, on how to raise a strong-willed child. When you're raising a strong-willed child, there are advantages of raising a strong child and there are disadvantages. For instance, if you raise a strong-willed child without offering choices, you're going to continue to struggle with that strong-willed child because a strong-willed child is experimentally wired. So your strong-willed child is constantly going to, struggle because this child is wired for experiment. That child is not just wired to follow. Let me say that again. Your strong-willed child is wired for experiment. Your strong-willed child is wired for experiment. Is not wired to just follow. So it is a good trait. It's been recorded that all the people who are captains of industries and are leaders in today's world, presidents and all of that, have been found to actually have been strong-willed people. So you can really not be in that place without having some kind of threat. Now, the problem will be that we do not understand how to help the child, to now use those strong will, they are experimental in nature, to now use those strong will to actually, share some of those things and do some of those things we're talking. All right. So that's actually something that is very, very key. So because they are wired for experiment, they're going to continue to struggle. So every time you do something, you fight with them. Every time doing your research, taking a course, getting an education on the area of your struggle is one of the best things that can happen to you. I shared before that I remember that, one of the reasons why I started studying learning style was because I struggled to teach my son how to read. All right. And our son both my husband and I were struggling. We didn't understand why, because by the time our daughter, they are twins, and by the time our daughter was graduating from nursery school, she was the only one who could read fluently. In fact, she read the valedictory speech of their school. And they're coming from the same home. You would assume that the same thing that is done to these same children, why won't they pick it? And that's where the problem is. We get frustrated when we don't do research, we don't get an education. We get frustrated when we do not know what it is that we're supposed to apply. So you're going to just keep submitting, hey, I've done everything I know. I've done everything. This child is not going to turn out. There's nothing again. It's just God is in the hands of God. That's not true. Parenting is in your hands. God's part in parenting is actually to help you, to lead you. And you are the one that is supposed to do the work. The work itself is done by you. All right? So it is important. So by the time I went and I started to see that, no, my son is struggling for a reason, not because he isn't smart. See, no child is dumb. No child is a foolish child. It is just what a parent, where every child is a product of what the parents know or what the parents do not know. We only have parents who do not understand how to help their children. That's the truth. So at that time, I knew that my son was struggling seriously with putting words together. And yet, this was someone who was, very good with mathematics. Very good with mathematics. It was the best in his stream at the time. And I figured, okay, so there is something wrong. I am a big reader. Of course, if you follow me, you already know that. And if you are around me, you already know that I'm a bookie. Okay. I just like to learn. So it wasn't me. It wasn't that, oh, we're not modeling it. It wasn't that, oh, we're not doing. But I knew at that time that there was something I needed to learn that I wasn't learning. One of the things I had to do immediately was to go look for an education. And you know what? That was one of the best things that I ever did for myself and my journey. That was when I went for going to learn how children learn. And I got to know about learning styles. I did a course on learning styles, and I understood that my son was a kinesthetic learner. My husband and I did that course together, and then we now realized that we were teaching whatever it is that we're doing. We didn't know how to teach a kinesthetic learner, and that was our struggle. And then we learned how to do it. And by the time he was finishing primary school, his essays used to be read in school for people to copy because he became so good writing. Now, my point is, until you know a child, learn their story, do a self-assessment on them, do a research on those things that are their threats and how you're going to be able to help them. Make a plan, which is the fourth one. Make a plan, you're really not going to be able to go anywhere. So part of what we did was, when we recognized that, we now realized that the way we know how to teach, many of the times we teach from our own learning style. So if you're an auditory learner, you're probably your first point of call would be to teach as an auditory learner. So you teach people the way you learn. And that's what we were doing. And by the time we understood, all right, that this is what we needed to do, we made a plan. We made a plan on how we could teach our kinesthetic learner. I tell the parents in the inner circle that when we want to teach our son, we actually do drama, because kinesthetic learners are activity driven. They are activity driven. Sometimes we are doing corrections and we are actually creating activities around discipline, because discipline is learning. Many of the times you're correcting a child, one of the problems that you're going to have if you do not do a research on your child is that you're going to do it the same way that you have done it for every other child, and many of the times it fails. Because every child is supposed to be learning. And if they are not learning, watch it. You are not teaching the right way. So make a plan. We made a plan on how to teach our son on discipline and how to teach him to be able to learn to read and all of that. And then we now realize that there were things that people who are dominant kinesthetic learners will struggle with. So we made a plan and paid more attention to those things that they will struggle with instead of paying attention to the things that they're not struggling with. So that's one of the things that you need to do. And then the fifth one is that while you're at it, you need to manage your emotions. We've talked about emotions management severally, and we just finished the course understanding emotion mastery challenge. If you are not there, you can go and get the replay. Trust me, that is the bedrock of every conversation that we're having today. Now, how do you love a difficult child? How do you begin to love a difficult child? Today, I'm going to give space for us to be able to answer your questions. So that's why I'm going to really put a lot together to round this off. It's possible that your child that is difficult is misbehaving just because the child is not feeling loved. Very important. Just, because the child is not feeling loved. One of my latest books is called How to Love Your Child More, 30 Practical Ways to Really Love Your Child and Prove It and Show It. Many of the times we claim to love our children. Yes, and then we do. But many of those times, our children might not even understand that we really love them. Let me say that again. Sometimes, many times, we say that we love our children, but many of those times, our children cannot see it in tangibility that we really love them. So you can love your child and your child doesn't feel loved. And that is a possibility that the child that is causing the child to misbehave, to become difficult. So it's possible your child is misbehaving because you're not showing them love. Let me say that again. It's possible your child is misbehaving because you are not showing them love. Somebody help me write it in the comment section. So your child is not just misbehaving because they want to misbehave. The reason could be that the child doesn't feel loved. So that's one of the reasons. So many times you see parents say, but my children know that I love them. Do they really know? Do they really know? Take yourself, for instance, when you were growing up. There are a lot of things that happened when you were growing up and you just thought, my parents don't really love me. But that's not true. They actually did love you. They actually did love you. But they didn't show it enough. You couldn't read it. And that's a big deal. I hope that you have pre-ordered that book. That book is a bombshell, right? And part of what we did was that in that book, we created those 30 days practical lessons, all right? And we were able to actually help parents begin to put into practice loving your child. This year in the Inner Circle, we did the 30 days Love Your Child More challenge. And for everybody who pre-orders those 3 books now, all right, you get access to that 30 days Love Your Child More challenge. You will finish that challenge. You'll be asking yourself, did I really say I used to love my children? Because the first thing that you need to know is even to understand how your child is loved. The fact that you tell someone I love you doesn't necessarily mean that person is going to feel loved. Because some of us feel loved more when you do something for us. Act of service, for instance. That's where the love language is coming. So your child is probably maybe has a love language of acts of service. And every time the child is doing something, you're never there, you're never helping. So the child is never going to feel loved. Even when you buy all sorts of gifts for the child. And that's why you say, why are you always unhappy after everything I've done for you? Have you ever felt that way before? Yeah. Have you ever felt that way where you feel that you're loving your child and yet your child is still doing as if you're not really doing anything? It could be, all right, it could be that love that you're showing is not really meaning love to that child because the child actually has a love language. So it is important that the other time we did something on apology language in the inner circle as well. Sometimes you say, oh, I've apologized, but I said sorry now. All of us don't receive apology the same way either. You should tell me, but I just said sorry to you. It's probably not going to mean anything to me. Because for me, apology language is different. It's for us to actually be able to look at it and you look at where you've gone wrong and what it is that you need to do. So it's very important. So you can find the link. You can find the link to be able to get access to that book, The Love Your Child More, How to Love Your Child More. So I have 3 books coming up in November. Raising the Independent Thinking Child. That book, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm going to leave it for the people that will savoid. When you're done reading it, you buy me a gift. I'm sure of that part. I've written that book in the past 2 years, and it's been one of the most exciting, amazing works that I have done. And then the second one is How to Love Your Child More, 30 practical ways to actually really love your child. By the way, if you're ordering from outside of Nigeria, the pre-orders will be up on Amazon soon. All right, the team is working on it. Okay, very important. So if you want to pre-order, you will see the link right in the comment section, or you can also pay directly into the account. So if you're getting the 3 books, instead of paying $35 each, which gives you save some money, and then you get to pay just $9,500 for the 3 books. And when you pay that amount, you can share the admin, please share the normal direct payment just in case you want to use it. You can pay. If you pay that amount, one of the things that you also will get is you're going to get master classes, 3 master classes that addresses these 3 books. The third book is Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 2. And for those of us who, a lot of people have come to me to say, Coach, I already have Sex Educate Your Child. What do I do? No, you don't have it. This is Volume 2. I am committed to writing books updated on sex conversations because I have a problem with the way sex conversations are had. And if you've ever attended or even read my books on sex conversations, you will know that I share it differently. It's not the normal thing you read out there. No, it's not. And you also know that is the truth and the fact that you're actually also reading. So this is Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 2. So Sex Educate Your Child Like a Pro, Volume 2, Raising Independent Thinking Child. And these books will be ready, launch on the 30th of November. But before even launch, you are all going to get copies in your destinations because the team is already working on it and they're going to ensure that is distributed, because we want on the launch day, you're able to hold your book in your hand and come online to say, yes, I have a copy because I pre-order the copy. So if you want to do, please, can you put the fee for the 3 books on that thing you shared? If you want to do, pay for all of the 3 books, you pay $9,500. You get the workbook. There's a workbook for Love Your Child More. It's interesting. So I created a workbook for Love Your Child More, but it's e-copy for now. We're not printing it. We're probably going to print it later. So, but once you do a pre-order, you get access to it. That workbook is going to help you to be able to put down on this love conversation the things that you need to actually put down step by step. So the 3 books, you've never heard them, you've never seen them, you've never read them. All right? They are new works, and you will be glad that you got a copy. For those of us who are in the academy, of course, you know that it's compulsory to own those books because we're going to use it to teach, and we're also going to use it to do our reviews and all of that. By the way, reading books in the inner circle tastes differently. It's not the same. When you read it in the inner circle, you're going to be feeling. I met a new Yada, who came to my office with a gift and told me she has read, or in fact, she's over prepared for coming into the inner circle. And I asked her, she said, do you think, Coach, I've done everything, I've done the courses, I've gone back to where. I said, don't worry. Even when you get into the inner circle, you find out that doing it on your own and doing it in the inner circle isn't the same. All right. So the 3-in-1 books are 9,500 naira, and you will get all of the things that you get is worth about 120,000. The team has put in for our pre-order. For those of us who want to actually be able to trust us and pre-order our books, we never fail anyway. But we actually give them some freebies. So, and the freebies for this year is worth 120,000 in what? So 9,500, you get copies of those 3 books, put in your cart. Believe you me, you cannot even get any of those books and you regret that you read any of my books. If you read my works, you would understand what it is that I'm doing. I don't just write so that I want to write. I write and it stands out, all right? And it's something that teaches and will transcend to generations. Now, how do you begin to love that culture? And I said the first thing you want to do is that you want to love that. You're going to see for those that are asking me, you're going to see the details on my stream. You can just take a screenshot on how you can make payment for the 3 books, or you can use the link. Okay, if you live outside of Nigeria, except you want e-copy, please wait for the Amazon copies. It's going to go live on Amazon soon. I hope you have invited other people to come here and continue this session with us. Now, I said that you need to learn how to love your child, and that's what got me to the point of talking about the book that is being launched, How to Love Your Child More, 30 Practical Ways to Love Your Child. So in 30 days, you will see your children really feel loved. It's not gainsaying. It's not guesswork. Your child will feel, wow, after these 30 days, I actually feel that my parents love me. That's what that book is about. Okay? So pre-order, reach out to the team, and the moment it's dispatched in your city, even if it's not directly in your city, it will be in a city close to you, and that will help you. You need to learn how to love your child. How do you learn how to love your child? Number one, you need to understand, your child's love language. You need to understand your child's love language. You need to understand your child's apology language. You need to understand what to do to be able to give that love. So if your child, for instance, your child's love language is touch, how do you create a structure in your home that ensures that on a daily basis your child feel loved? Your child feel loved. So that's how to learn how to love your child. Understand the love language, create structures in your home that actually make that love language tangible. So it's one thing to say, hey, I know how my child gets loved. I know how, my child, enjoys to be loved and all of that. But the question will be, do you really know? Does your child, really feel it? Have you really created a structure to actually be able to do that? Okay. So number one is understanding the child's love language. How do you learn it? You understand the child, you understand your child's apology language, and then you understand exactly how you're going to put that structure. All right. Whether you are African, I can see somebody not African, applicant to African. I don't know why we think that. Whether you're African, you are everywhere. This is a universal principle. You need to learn how to love your child. Whenever you meet, any child that is loved, you would know. So you need to also put structures. For instance, if your child is someone that likes words of affirmation as the love language, how do you put that into a structure in your home? In the inner circle, we create affirmations every month. So if you have a child who is words of affirmation, kind of lovable kind of person, that child already is going to, live in that structure and feel loved. So it is very important that you do that. Number two, don't take misbehaviors personally. The moment you begin to take misbehaviors personally and make it about you, you will continue to struggle. Don't take it personally. All right. Look at the things that you're doing with your children. Look at the misbehavior and tackle the misbehavior. Don't always feel that, oh, this child wants to kill me. Oh, it's all about me and all of that. No, this is not about you. It's about the child. Any child that is, becoming difficult means that that child is also becoming difficult in themselves. Okay. The next thing that you want to do is, you need to watch your attitude. You need to watch your attitude. It's easy to develop resentment. Somebody said, read the 5 love languages by Gary Chapman. Oh, yes, it's a compulsory read for every parent in the inner circle. Compulsory read. We do that every year. Okay? So you need to watch your attitude. It's easy to develop resentment towards that child that is difficult. One of those days, a parent reached out to me and said, I just don't know how to say it, but I hate my child. And I've seen so many parents who are in that place where they don't know how to say it. It's going to be wrong to say it, but you're going to the point where you have resented that child. So you need to watch your attitude, because the difficult child takes so much from you. They demand so much of your time, your energy. So you need to guard your thoughts. You need to guard your thoughts. You need to ensure that you're just not, just reacting in that system. Let me give you a story. And for you to guard your thoughts, you need to get an accountability system. Without an accountability system, you see all these guard your thoughts, it's almost impossible. Because when those thoughts come to you, there should be someone you will say, this is exactly how I feel about my child now. Remember, you can't say that to a friend, in quotes. You might not be able to say that to your spouse. You might not be able to say that to other children, but you can say that to a coach like me. I'm going to tell you a story. I had a particular parent. I have license to share this story. It's been shared, publicly in the academy and all of that. I have a particular parent who 2 years ago started to struggle with a child who was stealing. It was a bad case of stealing. And while we started this journey, the typical Nigerian parents, what they would do is just to beat the hell out of the child, and then the child is afraid and then maybe stops or maybe hides it. But of course, the real issues why that girl was stealing will never be resolved. And then we started working on why she was even stealing in the first place. And then we started to do a lot of work. It took us 2 years. Interesting conversation. And today we've been able to resolve everything that got that child to that, part. Now, the day she shared her story in the academy, every parent could, pin down, relate. But one of the things that she didn't share was there were many times where she really needed, where she really needed to just say, I just hate this girl. Yes, there were many times. And in those times, she actually would come to, me and just vent. She would say, Coach, I hate being a mother to this child. I hate this child. This child has cost me so much money, so much pain, so much. And, in the times where she's venting, it's okay. That's what we're paid to do, right? And then one of the things that makes it really easy is that we understand how it works. And we're able to actually allow you to go through all of the process. And then we will remind you that for you to stay focused, you must watch your attitude. You can't do it alone. If you're struggling with a child, for instance, who is constantly watching pornography, I constantly have a case that I'm dealing with. This child has been addicted to porn. To the point that sometimes the child will just say, Mommy, I just want to, I just, because there's an accountability system. When she sees the mother, it just say, the mother will say, did you try to watch this again? She said, I don't know what's happening to me. I just want to. And then the mother will come back to me and just say, I just hate that I'm in this position. Accountability system is the only thing that gives you mastery of what I'm talking about. It looks easy for me to say, dealing with a difficult child. There are really difficult children. There are times where you do not want to actually be a parent to that difficult child because it takes a lot out of you. In those times, you can't just watch your attitude on your own. In those times, you will need somebody who will say, hey, I understand how you feel, but this is the way to go. And many of the times, it can just be one person, it can be a community. And that's one of the things that the inner circle offers. Access to me, and then the community. What triggered the sharing of this story about stealing, and many parents actually shared about their stealing story and how they resolved it, was that a parent was confused. The child had just stolen and she didn't know what to do. She came to me and I said, these are the things we do. Let us go and get the huge resource of human experiences that you have in the inner circle. One of the reasons why when you read my book is more relatable is that because there's work. We do work every day. We work with people. And we're able to share with you intangibility, how you're going to relate, not copy and paste research. No, we're talking about real life stories of the things that have happened to parents. And this parent saw all of the stories and she said, you know what, ma, my problem is half solved. Did my child stop doing it? No. But now I know that I can hold on to something and stay strong. For you to be able to watch your attitude, you need a system, you need an accountability. I've said severally that joining an academy is no longer luxury. It's a need. Every parent who really wants to succeed in today's world will need. I've said severally, I tell the parents in the inner circle, if you need to sell a wig, you should sell a wig and get yourself access to some of these things. It's going to change your life literally. We were in Lagos last week, and if you watched my wall on Facebook, you saw parents who shared their testimonies who were in tears of where they were, who they have become, and what has happened to them. So I'm not sharing with you transformation that is, just cooked up. No, I'm talking about real life instances of what can happen to you just because you've joined an academy. A particular parent said to me, I joined in, just looked for money and I knew that I needed this. And she joined, and today she has bettered a business that, do transactions in millions. And she said, just because I listened and I started to reparent myself, I didn't even know that I was the problem. So you might not even know that you are the problem until you start to work on it. Then the next one is that you need to realize that you can't do it alone. You need to let God guide you to knowledge. Now, I use the word, let God guide you to knowledge, because that's what God does for us in parenting. When you pray, keep your ears open, because one of the answers that God is going to give you is direction to knowledge. And one of the parents in the inner circle, she's a pastor's wife, said to me that how she got in contact with me was that somebody had gifted her Connect to Correct and it was in her library. And then her children were misbehaving and, and was really, really, really struggling. She was a pastor's wife on the church. There was this thing you expected and all of that. And she began to really pray. She said she prayed and she would pray and just say, God, just change his children. She said one of those days she sat in her library and God said, I'm not the one to change them. You need to do the work. And then she said she just turned. And, the Holy Spirit pointed her to Connect to Correct. For those of us who believe in the supernatural, pointed her to Connect to Correct. That's my book. That's my first book. And she said she went there. She had had that book for months. She never opened it. And then she opened that book, and that book was what solved her problem till today. Immediately she was done, she sent me a chat using the non-contact that was on it. And, started to tell me that she wanted to actually join the academy. So you need to realize that you can't do it alone. You need God's guidance, guiding you towards what you need. God has raised men in this season to help parents in this generation. And it's not a joke. God has seen what is happening and has said, these people need help. Now, when God guides you to knowledge, it's your job to implement that knowledge, turn it to wisdom. It's your job. And it's your job to even agree that it's knowledge that you're being guided to that you need. This class might be one of those God guiding you to knowledge. A lot of people have told me that they just found me just like that. A lot of people that have told me that, somebody had, just while they were all down, feeling, what do I do? Reached out to someone and somebody sends them to me. I was working with a particular couple that live abroad, and they are so tired and fed up with their child that they wanted to send this child down back to Nigeria, to whoever, until somebody said to them, there's someone you need to meet. There's someone we need to meet. And that was how they got in contact, or, they got in contact with me and started actually working with me. Today, they are on the wait list to join the academy. They are, looking at the things differently. Their perspective is changing. So your answers to prayer is pointing you towards knowledge. The next thing that you need to do is that you need to intentionally make out extra time for this child. Now, winning the heart of a child requires time and patience. We have a course in the academy called Winning the Heart of the Child. It's one of our master classes in the inner circle. Winning the heart of the child. The idea is to win the heart of the child, is not to force, is not to fight. So intentionally making extra time for this child. I usually say that the misbehaving child is the child that needs love the most. Somebody help me write that. The misbehaving child is the child that needs love the most. When you intentionally, say play time with that child and patience, you will find out that there will be a lot of difference. When a child is misbehaving, when a child is being difficult, that child is also equally passing through a difficult time. Somebody help me write that. When a child is being difficult, when a child is struggling, that child is equally passing through a difficult time. So it's not like it's all rosy for the child. The child is also passing through a difficult time. So many of the times we don't understand that the difficult child is going through something. So we just think, oh, this child just wants to kill me. No, that child is also going through something, and something that you must pay attention to. So lots of character learning sessions when you are spending time with this child. I often say that time is a currency of destiny. Time is a currency of destiny. If you don't do the time now, you will do the time later. Either way, you will do the time. You will pay for it. Because in life, there's always that time factor. So if you make extra time for that child, you do a lot of character training session, because many of the times it could be character training issues. It could be, skills training issues. Make out time. There's no other way. When parents are struggling, when you're struggling, one of the greatest tools that you need is time. When a child is struggling, when a child is having a difficulty, one of the greatest tools you need is time. So you need to ask yourself, time, am I creating that time? But unfortunately, when our children begin to struggle, one of the things we do is to create less time for the struggling child. Very, very big error. All right? Very key. So that you can do the training sessions with the child. And the last one, you need to give the child encouragement, not judgment. Give the child encouragement, not judgment. Intentionally look out for what is good. You will tell me now that there's nothing good the child does. That's not true. It's because good is difficult. Negatives are easier to see. You can use, what we call the character chart to be able to actually record the things that are good. So when you record the good things, all right, you are putting a lot of things in perspective, and you're learning to acknowledge that this child is not an embodiment of, negatives. There is also something positive about the child. Yes, Mavis, when you say you don't have time for the child, you're actually saying that that's not my priority. Very true. And that's why when you get into the inner circle, the first oath you take is, I have time to parent my child. It's an oath. You take it, you say it, you ring it, you paste it in your rooms. Yes. we're that crazy. Because I understand that without time, everything we're talking here is blabberdash. You need time to shepherd a soul. Discipleship is about time. When you read about the gospel of Jesus Christ, you see how much time Jesus had to spend with the people, with his disciples to actually make impact. See how much time he sat with them, teaching them, training them. You need time to train a child. So, as you're giving encouragement, all right, to that child, as you're giving encouragement to that child, please try not to constantly judge. A parent got into a session and the first thing he started telling me, oh, this my child is bad. Oh, this my child is bad. I said, so is there anything good that this child has actually done? Anything good at all? And, she had to sit down. So we need to intentionally create it to see the good behaviors. Because what happens when you actually encourage or judge them, they will continue because they don't see any reason why they need to even do anything right. Because after all, whether they do it or if they won't try, you're going to continue to judge them. And then while you are at it, I want you to remember that there's always an unhappiness behind every bad behavior. Somebody help me write that. There is always an unhappiness. There's always a difficulty behind every bad behavior. Anytime you see a child struggling, that child is in a difficult place. That child is unhappy. Very key for us to note. And then if you think that all of these things at the time when you find yourself, you've gotten into this place, please take a break. Take a break. But out of all of these things that I've shared, one of the very major things I need you to look out for is watching your attitude. Watching your attitude. Realizing that you need a system, an accountability system to actually help your child, to actually not say the things that you're not supposed to say. Have you ever heard parents who said, I wish you were not born? It's not like they really wished it. They were frustrated. When you hear parents say, you are the worst thing that happened to me, I feel very sad that I had you. No. And that is because we're not watching this part. We don't have a system. We don't have a system, that helps us to actually pay attention to some of those things. Because there's always an unhappiness behind every bad behavior. Oh, yes. Every time. So I'm going to stop here and I'm going to allow you to ask me questions today. So I'm going to put a few minutes for questions. While that is going on, remember that once we hit the first 1,000 copies, all right, which we are hitting soon for your information, all right, so don't kid yourself. The moment we hit that, you're not going to have all of the benefits of getting this pre-order. So one of the benefits will be that you're getting the workbook of how to love your child more free. You're getting a masterclass, a Q&A masterclass exclusive on Zoom free with me, of course. And you're also getting 3 masterclasses that talks about all of these issues, worth about 20,000 naira each of those masterclass free. So thank you very much for being here. And for those of us who've been asking about the inner circle is a place where you must be. Somebody wrote something, a yada, an incoming yada in the wait list. All right? An incoming yada in the wait list. She shared and she said she was at the meetup. And she shared with other people in the way, say, if you are contemplating not to join the inner circle, please don't even dare. It is the place that you must be. Will the workbook come in hard copy? The workbook is e-copy only, and we're giving it only to people who pre-ordered. If you want, if you don't, you're going to buy it. All right? You're going to buy it. We're not going to give you free after the pre-order ends. All right? And this pre-order is for the first 7 people, first 1,000 people. And if you are, wondering, if you want to get the other copies of my books, all right, apart from these 3 that is being pre-ordered, I have other copies of my books. You can get them on Amazon as well. Connect to Correct, The Discipline That Works, from yelling to calm, walking your child to puberty, shown you this before. Parenting launch plan. I call these our parenting manual in the inner circle. I look forward to actually, working with parents that are just entering to create this launch plan. And then we have resolving sibling rivalry. And then we have sex educate your child like a pro volume 1. Now, volume 1 comes in red, volume 2 comes in yellow. Okay, so that you don't also confuse yourself. Would anyone in the society implement all this? I am implementing it, and there are a lot of people in the inner circle who have implemented it. And some of us who ask about marriage books, and I'd mentioned before, my husband is a marriage counselor. You can reach out to him. There's one book that you want to get, Building Your Marriage Plan. So these are the books that are available. And hey, books are key, important. If you're getting into the inner circle, know that you're going to also be making budgets to buy books. Very key. I was coming out of the airport and I had to buy a book for 8,000 naira a few days ago. And somebody asked me, as in, you actually would buy this book for 8,000 naira? I said, I've paid more, much, much more to buy books because I know what they can do for me. Are the books also needed in the inner circle? Yes. All the books, when you get into the inner circle, you need all the books. We read one book per month. And if you don't like reading, one of the things that the inner circle will help you is to ginger your reading capability, because you must read. You don't have a choice. As in, you must read. And you will enjoy that you've actually gotten yourself to the point where you can read. All right. So do we have any more questions? If you are ordering the 3 books, like I said, the details are on my screen. If you're ordering one, you pay 3,500 for each, and you do not get the pre-order benefits. Okay. So the choice is yours. You can still order one, it's fine. And then you can order the rest later. The books come in both ebook and hard copy. You can get the books, any copy that you want. The choice is yours. All right. If you're joining the inner circle, you need these books, obviously. Okay. So that's part of what it is that we do in the inner circle. Read books, dissect them, explain them, and then use them to run, all right, on our journey. Okay. So basically, that's what it's about. And the inner circle for 2023 starts our year as an academy, ends on the 30th of November. And we take off the year 2023, 1st of December. So that's how we run our calendar. We used to run a calendar of 1st November to 30th November. But we started running a calendar 2 days ago of 1st December to 1st December every year. So the calendar starts on the 1st December. So if you're wondering when the 2023 cohort is starting, it's on the 1st December for the inner circle. How much is the fee? 70,000 naira per year. All right. And if you divide 70,000 naira per year, it's less than 6K, right? They're supposed to pay every month. So you need to pay your fees, frequently asked questions. You need to pay before you join, before the classes start on the 1st of December. You can book a slot now and put that down and pay the balance, or you can pay all of the 70,000 naira now. Can you pre-order on Amazon? Yes, we're getting that ready. And on Amazon, you will be able to do that. My 4-year-old loves to dare anyone and do whatever you talk to him he wants to do. Bully his elder brother. What can I do? What you can do, Titilayo, is to understand why. Just follow this process that I have shared. All right? One of the first things you need to do is learn their story, learn who he is, do a look beyond the behavior and do a self-assessment. Do you know how he learns? Do you know who he is? Do you know his temperament? Do you know his learning style? Do a research, take a course. If you have a strong-willed child, please take a course. We have one course called Parenting the Strong-Willed Child. You can take it. All right? And it will be easier for you to actually just get into the inner circle so that you also understand the process. Then manage your emotions while you're doing that. Okay, just follow the process and that's it. Mavi said 1st December is Christmas for me. Oh yes, it's Christmas for many parents. We have almost 2,000 parents, getting into the academy this year, the level 1. And you actually want to be there because as soon as we have those remaining slots that are open, we shut it down. But even if the slots are not over, by the time we're starting on the 1st of December, which of course is not possible, we're going to shut down registration in USD. There's a link. You just follow the link and the link converts for you in USD. All right. you can just use that link and the link converts for you immediately. My 5-year-old daughter likes to create movies around them. What do I do? Okay, what's wrong with her liking to kiss? Kissing, I do not understand that. Things that I would like you to do is to pay attention things that you're doing with sex conversation. I hope you have pre-ordered the book. The two is going to do magic for you. Start teaching your child sex conversation that you can start now. Yes, the time to start is now. Start now to do that. These are woof. Okay. My reading capability came to life when I joined the inner circle. Yes. All right. Yes, that happens to you all the time. All right. Please share the again both the direct payment and the link. Okay, my tutorial, you loves to hit his head on. One of the things you want to do to deal with tantrum, that you get the book Connect to Correct. Start with it. There's something wrong in the system. Tantrum in that manner. The reasons are simple. Your child doesn't know how to manage emotions. I'm sure when he does that, you hit him, and because you continue to do course. I'd like to take the course Parenting a Strong-Willed Child. Please send under the screen. Please just send a chat to the team. You sound a lot, you may not threatening us. I guess threats are part. Thank you so much for being a blessing to humanity. Book the well if you're in the inner circle. So and if you're coming in there, brace yourself up. Just do not have the strength for people in the cathedral. Tell you that. Sounding negative, but this is un-African. An African parents on the street will pass off. Yeah, that's why we're teaching. All right, that's why when I started parenting, I parent my, and a lot of people say, once you don't beat the children, they will be useless. No, but that narrative. Today, parents are parent stars. That's the word. Because there is a learning. Because Ella said that the new passport is a new passport. Yes, so you don't have it, you're gone. So I was in Lagos and I met to getting the books, all right? And I was, he's one of the foremost marriage counselors in Nigeria, and he was telling me him and his wife. So it's getting to a point where if you're not in the academy, will not do. All right, we're already making plans. Marriage time is whether you were actually parented the academy way. Yeah, it's just like that. All right. Into all of this, right? Erika, don't worry about any other person. All right. Very important. Video and audio is breaking. Dr. Happiness. Oh, okay. I don't know why that is happening. Clear here, but we are done. So even if the video and audio is, when a child is being difficult, that child is also going through a difficult time. If you want to reach out to the team we have shared, please reach out to them. There's a number scrolling down. That is what you're looking for, right? And one of the book, all right, you need to get the other those books. I think I had put it on the screen. I put it on the screen for you to Pre-order goes off the shelf as soon as we have those 1,000 copies, and of course, cost 5,000 naira. So hey, you're going to be saving a whole lot. Be saving like 4,500 or 5,500. So you want to actually begin to do that. Thank you so much, everybody, for being there. Can you put the what's it called? The 3 number, please. Put it on the stream, please. All right. The link to pre-order, okay? For those of us on the description. You can find it on the description and just send it with me. Thank you for joining me. I hope that this was what I can't see any more questions anyway. So for those of us oh yeah, I write the right up on your t-shirt, Mama Cathedral. Oh yeah. Yes, there's always something to be on my shirt. To send it, please just use that link. And you also want to use if you also want to get hard copies, please buy on Amazon. If you live in US, buy on Amazon, please. If you live outside of Nigeria, thank you so much. The details is on my stream. You can just screenshot with the details, and then and do have an amazing day. If you have more questions, reach out to us. Pay for it. Okay, so see you p.m. at the cathedral. And then for the parents in the nurse, I could see you today. Bye.